What branch of the military did you serve in?
In Vietnam, U.S. Army Special Operations Force.
Okay, what was your job slash MOS and rank?
My MOS was at 07, which is the prefix for Special Forces, and in Vietnam I was Dai Huy. That's captain.
Okay. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I had to go into the service because I was in the ROTC program at the University of Minnesota. So I went in after graduation as a second lieutenant, was stationed at Fort Knox, Kentucky in armor training.
That answers my. Where were you living at the time?
At home, in Minnesota. Okay.
What kind of training did you have to undergo for Vietnam?
Oh boy, that's real tough. We had to undergo airborne training for 3 weeks at Fort Benning, Georgia. Special Forces Officer Course, qualification course. Yeah, that was 12 weeks. And then they sent me to El Paso, Texas, and I had to go through a year's Vietnamese training before I could go to Vietnam.
Okay, what motivated you to enlist in the Vietnam War, or what motivated you to join ROTC?
I'll tell you the exact reason, and this is what I told. I was given an award at St. Thomas Academy where I went there, and because we were a distinguished military school in high school, that we didn't have to take ROTC at the University of Minnesota, but one of my fraternity brothers said, you ought to join up anyway because they're paying $47 a month. And that is exactly why I joined.
Okay, so at what age did you join the military?
Let's see, most people joined the ROTC program at 18. I didn't join until I was 19. I was a sophomore.
Okay, do you remember arriving and what was it like?
I think now we ought to say after I went on active duty, because otherwise I went to school there and went to class every day.
Okay.
So let's do that. I was a little bit shocked because I had never really been away from home that long. I reported to Fort Knox, Kentucky on the 6th of October, 1963. And I had no idea what I was going to do there, what I was, until about a week afterwards. Then I figured, I was in the Army for sure and going to school.
Okay, do you have any moments of regret or pride concerning the war? Oh, I was supposed to say this beforehand. If there's anything you're like not comfortable talking about or whatever,
Nothing at all.
Okay, so do you have any moments of regret or pride concerning the war?
Not a bit, not one little bit.
So no regret or pride?
Not a bit.
Okay.
Nope.
Do you believe the Vietnam War changed you in any way? If yes, in what way?
Oh, absolutely. Anybody who's been in war, it's going to change them. The thing is, did it change me for the better or for the worse? In my case, I would say for the better. I think you learned a little more patience because I was not in a U.S. unit. I was Special Forces, and I had an A detachment, which means I had 12 Green Berets with me. But we were in charge of 350 Vietnamese and Montagnards. They were the Montagnard people. And I would say a lot more humility than I had before. And also I think that you find yourself a little more forgiving of other people's foibles.
Okay, can you think of any specific songs or movies or TV shows that greatly influenced you from that era?
Yeah, the Green Berets and the song Ballad of the Green Berets.
Okay. Do you recall the day your service ended? If yes, can you describe it for me?
Oh, the day it was ended was in the end of December 1988, and it was a retirement ceremony.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of nice.
Did you make any close friendships while in the service? Did you stay in touch after the war?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the interesting thing, I probably have heard more from the soldiers in my detachment, my A detachment. We were on the Cambodia border. Several times I've gotten phone calls, and even now, a couple of years ago, I've heard from some of those people. As far as other people in the service, I see them frequently. But I will say one thing. Of all the things that I was closer to, I think, my high school friends, about 4 or 5 of them, and they were probably the best friends I've ever had.
What did you go on to do as a career after the war?
I stayed in the service for 24 years, but after I retired from the service, my wife and I, we planted a vineyard and opened up a winery in Oregon.
What was your best-selling wine called?
Jordan's Joy.
Named after your favorite
Yes.
grandkid, right? Okay. How did
It's a champagne, we should say,
okay,
yes.
okay. How did
You
your
knew that one was coming,
yes, I
didn't you?
did. How did your service and experiences affect your life?
Oh, I'd say it had a profound effect. I mean, I went into the service as a 22-year-old kid, not knowing much, thinking I knew a lot, but I knew nothing. And I retired after 24 years, and I was 46 years old. And I think it a profound shape in your life. And things I do now is the stuff from service and stuff like that.
For sure. You met your wife, right?
I did.
Yep.
I did. Lucky me.
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
19.
19 what?
19 medals or citations or things like that. And the only reason I know that is when my brother put me in for the award, the Fleming Award at St. Thomas, he had to write them all down. I had no idea there was 19, but there were 19 either awards or decorations of some kind.
Any like big ones that like jumped out?
Yeah, Legion of Merit, Bronze Star, and some of those, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to add that we have not yet covered in this interview?
Yeah, since it was mostly about Vietnam, I will say I brought all my soldiers home and I brought all my weapons and nobody died under my watch. Good guys.
You're kind of nice.
Yeah, the bad guys, they weren't so lucky.
Okay. All right, I think that